Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro Friends. I hope this finds you safe. I hope this finds you healthy. I hope this finds you a whole bunch of things in amongst a time when we are feeling a whole bunch of things. For those of you that were waiting for me to go live, I apologize. I was on the phone with my lawyer and I'm incredibly furious about a situation where I'm being bullied by another business owner, but we will talk about that on another episode of the podcast. So I apologize for being a little late, but it really fueled my thoughts for this discussion. Today we're going to talk about tone deafness in our community. And the idea, I'm sorry it's taking me a minute to get my words out, but what I'm experiencing is quite informative to the reason why I really want to have today's discussion. I'm no stranger to oppression. I was born an Arab girl in a very Arab household in a very racist country, Australia. I was raised in a very racist country and told that I was worthless because I was a woman from a lot of directions. And breaking out of that oppression, I have lost more than I care to admit. It was not my intention to come on here and actually get emotional. And I've been bullied a lot in my life. I know you'd find it hard to believe, but I promise you don't know my story and you don't know the extent of the constant aggression that I get pushed up against me because of the things that I do that stir cognitive dissonance in people without intending to. I'm just doing my thing. So people who feel that they have power over me exert that power just because they can. Not because it's right or it's wrong or any of that, just because they can. Now, I'm a fake white woman. I feel that oppression and I have skin that means that when I walk up to a customs line coming into a country, they don't ask me a single question. If I walk into a store, nobody looks at me suspiciously. If I go to a business meeting, people are going to be more likely to at least hear what I've got to say. If I go to a bank, I am more likely to be heard than if they knew what race I really was. The Black Lives Matter movement is a race issue, but it's about so much more than that. And right now it needs to be about the Black community. And right now it needs to be about us all getting involved to help the Black community break the shackles of what happens to them if put in exactly the same situations that I'm put in. They get treated a complete different way. Equality and the removal of oppression doesn't just help the people who the oppression is removed from. It brings hope to everybody. Living in a community where we are just treated equally, where we don't find it necessary to tear each other down, is important for so many reasons. Yesterday I was told by somebody, before I say that, you will not be able to see any of the reasons why it's important to have equality if you're not aware of your tone deafness. If you can't see why it's so fucking important that everybody gets an equal footing. I'm not talking about equity. I don't think that equity is what we're aiming for. But we should, without any shadow of a doubt, be aiming for equality. We should absolutely be aiming for the idea that somebody with a darker skin tone, or somebody who is very obviously the same race as I am, rather than the fake white woman that I am, they don't get put behind an 8-ball purely because of the color of their skin. What kind of an unsophisticated, piss-weak fucking ideology is that? I'm so angry. I'm angry because I watched a lot of videos over the weekend so I could inform myself better about the situation that the black community has to face with regards to the way that they prepare their children to go out into the world. The way that a police officer doesn't try and disarm a situation when they are up against a black person. They immediately go directly to an act of violence a lot of the time, disproportionately to people of lighter skin color. I saw police officers drive fucking vehicles into groups of protesters on the weekend. When I was a kid, my father, who I don't have a relationship with anymore, my father told me, and I cannot believe I'm admitting this here, that if I was to live under his roof again anymore, I would have to live with my neck under his foot. So to see George Floyd die with his neck under somebody's knee was incredibly triggering. Oppression is not good for anybody. Oppression is used by bullies who want to squash other people because they're scared that if those people rise, that the bullies may no longer be able to compete on a level playing field. Yesterday, a white man said to me that racism isn't as bad as everyone thinks it is in America. He said that the media likes to hype it into what it is. Inequality isn't really real in America. It's the media that's tricking me to believe that. I was told yesterday that rather than being a victim, I should learn resilience. I was told this by somebody who's never experienced any kind of oppression before in their life. I checked. The hard part about this is that if you want to change the situation, you can't walk away from that conversation. It's not responsible if you really want to affect change to walk away from a discussion like that. My job in this Black Lives Matter movement is to speak to other people who have advantages that I am also afforded and help them hear their tone deafness. My job is not to scream at the top of my lungs that yes, I was oppressed too. No, that's not the moment for this. But I will be a direct benefactor of the success of the Black Lives Matter movement, because I will see hope that the bullying that I'm experiencing right now from a business owner and his lawyer that actually will benefit fucking zero from what they're trying to do to me. I will see hope that that system will be dismantled. And the reason I'm so emotional is because of lots of reasons. I've been triggered all weekend by horrific shit that I've heard, both from the Black community and from white people who have literally said things to me like, oh my God, I can't believe you're so easily influenced, which is condescending and insulting. People who, if they had experienced the shit that I've experienced, would be rocking in the fucking fetal position, screaming for their mothers. And that's not even a quarter of what they would be experiencing if they had to go through what so many of these Black people have to go through. We're at war with a system that creates a lack of opportunity or makes it more difficult deliberately for people to have the same advantages as their peers. And that system needs to break. I don't want to operate in a system where somebody who has a different skin tone from me, or a different gender from me, or a different sexual orientation than me, is less than me purely because of those fucking things. I don't want to operate in a system where I win more because of the color of my skin. That's not winning. That's not winning. For people who shy away from the idea of having this discussion because you believe that what we're saying when we talk about the P word, the privilege word, try for a second. I really want to invite you to step away from your defensiveness. Nobody wants you to have less. Nobody wants you to give up what you've got. Nobody wants to tell you that you're a failure or that you should feel guilty or anything like that. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is you're participating in a system that you are the direct beneficiary of other people being squashed down. You're not winning, you're fake winning. You're winning because what you're doing is you're prohibiting and throttling the success of others by participating in this system. We don't want to take away any of your stuff. It didn't have to come to what it's come to. The riots didn't have to happen. But people are angry. I'm angry every fucking day of my life. I happen to have the privilege to be able to use it to affect change. But I'm tired. I'm tired of living in a world where people who have inherent advantages hide behind those inherent advantages because they're scared that other people are going to take them from them. Nobody wants you to not be successful. Be successful. But can you be successful when everybody else has the same access to your success as you are, as you have? What are you scared of? The main thing at the middle, right at the core of this discussion that's currently happening, that's causing all of these riots and protests, this is not what's causing the looting. The looting is a separate issue. But at the core of what's happening with the protests and with the riots is that people want to know why, if a black person is murdered by a cop, why that cop doesn't get arrested and charged with murder. But if that were to happen to a white person, they would. That is not an unfair question. That is not an unfair request to make. Going out there and saying a list of things that I've heard from people who have been tone deaf: stop acting like a victim and build resilience. Racism isn't even as bad as you think it is. You'll get success if you work hard in America. The American dream is accessible to everyone if they stop making excuses. These are the kinds of things that are said by people who aren't understanding what the real problem is. And I invite you to stop being defensive, stop needing to be right, stop defending what you've got. We're not trying to take it away from you. What we are trying to do is to get you to understand that this isn't a just world. And why don't you want to operate in a just world? Why isn't it important to you that you are operating in a just system? And I'm not romanticizing this. I'm not being, the word escapes me. I'm not being idealistic here. That's the word I'm looking for. It is not idealistic to expect that if a black man or a black woman get arrested, that they shouldn't expect that means that they are going to be killed before they get into a cop car. If you can't see that is a real problem, then I'm afraid that we probably don't have any hope. And when we don't have hope, it's hopeless. And I refuse to accept that. Hope is the only thing that got me to 45 years old. With some semblance of faith in humanity. It's not a lot left, but there's a little bit of it left. Enough that I am willing to be a part of this war. This is one of the wars that is worth fighting. This is absolutely one of the wars that is worth fighting. And so, I invite you to just think about the situation. I invite you to just consider what your tone speaks. I invite you to be present in conversation and discussion. I invite you not to shy away from this very, very important moment in history. And if this situation that I'm up against isn't resolved, I'm probably going to have to talk about it publicly. Because I think I'm out of options. Anyway, please stop being assholes to each other for no reason. It really does make the world a shittier place to be in. It makes it harder for no reason. And there is enough room for all of us to be successful. There is enough room for all of us to have a go. There is a room enough for all of us to find happiness, and especially there should be enough room for all of us to experience peace of mind. If peace has never been a problem for you, you need to really check the advantages that you've inherently been given in your life. So much peace, love, and peanut butter to everybody. If I didn't love and respect you all deeply, I wouldn't be on here making a fucking idiot of myself, blubbering. But we gotta do better.